Hello, everyone. Good morning for those in EMEA. Good afternoon for those in APAC. My name is Virginia, and welcome to the DV360 Hangout on Air. Most of you probably already hear me or see me in meetings or events. I am working with publishers in the Online Partnerships Group. And with us today, we have Lorenzo. Lorenzo is Google Marketing Platform Tech Manager. Did I say correctly?
Right.
Long role. He works with advertisers. He works for the buy side, and before that, he has some experience also in the sell side. So he worked also with publishers outside of Google. He also worked in a trending desk. He worked in an agency before, and now we got him. So for the last year and something, he has been working with our advertisers. So it's a great opportunity for us to have him here. And thank you again so much for joining us. Do you want to say
First
anything?
of all, good morning to everybody. And it's a pleasure to be here. And we got the opportunity today to just link and get closer to the both side of business, so the demand side and the supply side. And today with this session, we go through the buyer point of view into the deal management tool, and we will go also through the DV360 platform account setup in order to let you understand how the buyers approach the media buying from their side. We go also through the main roadblocks that you can also decrease the buy rate at your hand. So we will face all these topics in this session, and of course, feel free to put your question in the...
we have the live chat. We left you a comment. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them there. We will address them at the end. We will show you now the agenda. So there is a piece for the Q&A, and we will be answering all your questions there. So the agenda today is, first of all, Lorenzo will be introducing the programmatic ecosystem. He will be giving us an overview, and he will be talking also about the media consolidation point of view from the buyer's perspective. He will be also talking about the Google Marketing Platform for the advertisers. We will be going also through the buying method types that are quite similar to us, but from the buyer side again. And after he will be going deep on the traders tools, the targeting best practices, and the key takeaways and best practices for us as publishers. And after, we will have some time for the Q&A at the end. So if you want to kick off.
So ready, steady, go. Let's start with an overview of the programmatic ecosystem and the media consolidation trend. With media consolidation, we will go through in this topic, and we will let you know what the buyer understand as media consolidation. So just a quick overview. This is the trending topic keyword. Programmatic. What is programmatic? I mean, is an automated way to buy and sell advertising inventory, hot inventory, and it allows buyers and publishers to replicate this way of buying at scale with a personalized and custom possibility, and of course it's in real time. So this is just an overview and just to let you understand where we are moving in. So this is what the advertising buying method was just before the programmatic way of buying. So it used to be a classic transaction method where the buyer called the publisher and define a volume of impression for a specific site or a specific session of site. And in that condition, in that situation, the buyer used to rely on the publisher just to find the proper audience. But in that way, the buyer used to buy all the audience of the publishers, and may, in that situation, is not completely focused on what is his core audience. So in this way, the buyer used to rely on the audiences of publisher. So in the last 10 years, I would say it depends on the market where we move in, but with a programmatic buying, the buyers just change their approach, like moving from a direct buying on the specific publisher side and audience to an audience buying controlled and managed by a platform. In this case, they are called DSPs, where all the media buying is managed from the buyer side. In this way, the buyer, of course, is able to very well target the buying, considering their KPIs and scope. So in this way, the buyer got the possibility to customize the message and deliver where his audience is. So this is just a switch to the buying approach. And here, just an overview and just a comparison between the two ways of buying that are still available in the market. Because we see from the buyer's perspective that not all the media budget is invested in programmatic buying. So there's still a remnant part on a traditional reservation buying. And here we got the first problem of the environment, where the buyer need to control the frequency for his campaign. When we mention the control frequency, we mean considering a full media plan. The buyer got objectives as get a specific user and avoid the overexposure of this. So with the frequency control that is mainly applicable in the DSP buying, they can guarantee just to hit a specific user in the whole media plan with a certain frequency.
And we will explain better, right, Lorenzo, how that can affect the campaigns, how that can affect actually the forecast that you thought that the buyers were going to buy on your campaigns. We will go in deeper on the concept of frequency cap because we believe, based on the questions that you asked us previously, we believe it's a very important topic to go a bit deeper.
So, as Virgi says, frequency cap is one of the blocks that condition the buy rate at your hand. So please, just as a first takeaway, just consider the frequency as a block at your hand in the buying. So we want to just show you an example of what a classic media plan works. So we got, for example, in a specific media plan, publisher number one, in this case, we put New York Times, and we just put a frequency cap on him of 3 per user. Same we do on a second publisher, that could be a second line of our media plan. In this case, we just put LinkedIn. And the remnant part as another line of the media plan where all the media buying is managed with a DSP buying.
So the first two wouldn't be programmatic, right? They will be direct.
The first two is a classic and traditional buying. So it's just via tag, not via exchange. What's the problem here? We just said the planners just decided, the planners and the clients just want to reach the user just for 3 times in the full media plan. And the problem here is that on the first 2 publishers, we cannot control the frequency cap, or better, we cannot integrate the frequency cap with our open auction investment line. So the problem is there most of the times happens that the user here is overexposed. So we can find the same user in the first publisher number 1, publisher number 2, and also in the open auction line. And in this case, we're gonna get the user more than 3 times. Furthermore, what can happen if this user got more than 1 device? For example, here we just put that the user got 3 devices. we can overexpose the user until 27 times. So this is a real issue. I just want to bring on the table the problem of the buyers, and this is a real issue because if we got a KPI, campaign KPI that is reach, we just put a specific budget to get a specific number of users, and in this case we just waste a lot of budget. When I say we, of course, I mean the buyers and the clients.
Right, yeah.
So, and what about if they got not only DV360 but other DSPs? So this is a problem, a current problem of the environment. But our suggestion or the approach that we are trying to push to the clients and the agencies is just to have one platform approach, where in this case we just switch one of the publisher, but is the same meaning. On a specific line, we can manage the previously traditional based deal with a programmatic guaranteed on New York Times. The same we can do on a second publisher. In this case, we just put Vice or LinkedIn is exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And then what we can do now, we can integrate programmatic guaranteed that it was mainly like similar to the reservation buying with the open auction buying, but all these buying methods just rely on one platform. And in this case, the buyer will be able to apply a frequency cap cross publisher, cross line items, and then we will understand what line item means. And putting this frequency cap, the buyer is able to control and reach the user for a specific number of times. So in this case, we can guarantee the KPI of reach that we wanted to have at the beginning.
So in this case, the buyer is able to put the frequency cap, you said, for all the line items, even though the transaction type is different, because we see it's programmatic guaranteed on the first two and after open auction. So they are able to set up the same frequency cap in a campaign level versus line item level in this case, right? Okay.
Yes. We can manage all the buying method, programmatic buying method, under the same platform.
Okay.
So let's turn a bit back on media consolidation. When we talk about media consolidation, we still see in most of the markets that part of the budget is still out of the programmatic buying. But we are pushing all the clients to be able to switch and to bring these budgets still managed into traditional buying into the programmatic ecosystem. So in this way, as we said before, we are able to reach new users, more users, and control the buying, avoiding every kind of media wastage and budget wastage. So considering your view, just remember that working in this way, your buy rate could fall a bit, but at the same time, you have to remember that frequency cap is fundamental for the buyers to reach new users and to reach more users and to have more control of the buying. So let's move a bit and let's do a recap of what are the plus, the pros of the programmatic guaranteed into this concept of media consolidation. So the first one is, of course, the frequency control. So the buyers will reduce the waste in terms of media and in terms of budget, and they will be able to give more efficiency to the campaign, so they'll be able to reach new users and more users and control the exposure of these users to a specific message. At the same time, on the publisher side, we can see an increase of inventory value and volume. So you'll be able to monetize the remnant part, the inventory that it not buy.
The remaining inventory, yeah. The remaining inventory will be able to like use it for other campaigns. That's what you mean, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So if we move on, let's talk about data. We talk a lot with buyers about data-driven strategy, data-driven approach, and with the DSP, with the DV360 in this specific case, we can reach the right audience thanks to specific data layers that the buyers can apply at their hand. In this case, of course, also the publisher can get incremental revenue considering the data applied on the advertiser hand. Let's think about open market. Is the open auction, open market, is this perfect environment where the advertiser can move with a data-driven strategy. There they can apply a lot of filters in order to qualify their buying. In this case, of course, at the publisher hand, from they will receive a high bid for the specific audience, and so they are able to increment the revenue also on that side.
And that's why it's also important for us publishers to understand what is the type of audience that you have and what is the value of that audience, right? So maybe the same user is going to different websites, but on your website you have a specific data of what that user is interested in that might be obviously interesting for the advertisers and to close some deals. So yeah, data is also a key point for us.
Scaled approach and scaled access. With programmatic buying, of course, everything is managed in one platform. So on the advertiser and agency side, they don't need to download all the tags from the ad server, send each tag to each player or publisher in the environment, but everything can rely on one platform. Furthermore, we got a specific integration. DV360 got a specific integration with the Google Ad Server called Campaign Manager. And these two products are linked together. So you don't even have the advertiser doesn't even have the problem to download the tags and upload again because the platforms are linked. So in terms of save time and efficiency of the process, can you just easily understand how scalable it is? On the other side, for the publisher, they can also be reached by international advertiser, and they can also put their inventory available for them. So you can see a kind of incremental revenue, incremental demand access for this premium inventory. And the last point, more efficient and fast process, is also related to the scaled one. So in this way, consider that at the agency side, most of the time the problem is just related to time. So they don't have time to do all the things that they have to do, like reporting, optimization, control, and what else. So in this way, they are able to reduce the time waste, and they can focus on result and analysis. And only thanks to this approach, this programmatic approach in one platform, they can reduce the time waste. At the same position are the publishers, where, for example, working with a programmatic guaranteed or with a preferred deal, they don't have even to send emails. Just have phone calls to define all the details of a deal, because everything is just faster than in the past. So this is just an overview, and these are the key points of this new approach. and where the market is going. So just to keep in mind, and the pros from the advertiser side and also from the publisher side. Let's say it once again, I mean, it's not fully new, but it's one of the recent media buying that we got into the platform is the guaranteed one. So if compared to the open auction and non-guaranteed deals, here we can guarantee the specific volumes of impression. What does it mean in concrete? Now the buyers, the advertisers, the agencies will be able to move their branding and awareness campaign that has got for KPI branding, awareness, and visibility. And so they need to deliver a specific volumes of impression and guarantee these volumes. They are now able to bring all these activities into a programmatic environment. So that media budget we will move smoothly into DV360 in this case, or into DSPs. So it's a new way to get more budget for publishers and a way to better control everything at the buy side. Last point, and we want to let you clearly understand the topic. So here we got a clear graphic that shows you what we already said. In the past, we were not able to fully control the frequency, but now what we can do is just to apply a frequency cap across the whole buying method that we got in the DSP. So we are talking here about media consolidation compared to a fragmented buying. So the media consolidation will allow buyers to control their buying, reduce overexposure, and get more reach with the same investment that they just put before.
Lorenzo, could you maybe explain to us why is the exposure, the overexposure to the user, is that important for you as buyers, and what that means for you? Because for us, yeah, it might be different.
From the buyer side, the overexposure is very, very important just to avoid the overexposure. Mm-hmm. First of all, for branding and awareness campaign, it's just a way to avoid to annoy the user through a specific message. And most of the advertiser got also a proxy. They got a coefficient and considering historical data, and they knows which is the best exposure for a user, for example, to get a conversion. For the brand specifically. Or for the brand, or for even performance campaign. Mm-hmm. So they know when to stop to showing the message to them. So they got this data at their hand, and feel free to ask them in case to better understand how they will buy the inventory considering these KPI. Okay, thank you. Let's move a bit into GMP for advertiser. We want to just show you, we recently just changed the naming of what was previously called DoubleClick and now is GMP. And we just want to show you what are the new names of each product considering this rebranding.
Yes, so as we explained to you, and probably you already have seen this, we changed in both sides of the business, in the sell side and also in the buy side, the branding of our products. And for us, it has been also a change in the sense that we have two platforms before. So for us publishers, we used to have DoubleClick that exchange, that was the exchange, and DoubleClick for publishers, that was the ad server. In this case, we merged our products and we became with this powerful platform that is Google Ad Manager. In the case of the buy side, Lorenzo will explain further the differences between double-click Campaign Manager and double-click Bid Manager, but the idea is quite similar in the sense that they had an ad server in one side and the DSP in the other side, and they are merging also in this year and next year to one only platform that is Display and Video 360, which is what we call DV360, and is part of the Google Marketing Platform.
So finally, we've been able to bring in the market a unified ad tech ecosystem. Here you can see our new product of the GMP ecosystem. And as you see, search, for example, let's start from the first one, Search 360. It just the new name of DoubleClick for search. So it's just bid optimization machine, is a bid optimization platform that allows buyers and advertisers to collect all the search engines platforms like Google Ads, like Bing, like Yandex, like Baidu, all the search engine into the same platform and apply bidding strategy, specific bidding strategy over all these search engines. The other one, the green one, is Display and Video 360, that we can still call it DSP, but we will see that is more than a DSP to date, and Campaign Manager as ad server. All the others logos that you see are related to on-site activities. So for example, let's start from Tag Manager is a tool for to put tags into your site. Analytics 360, that is the premium version of Google Analytics. And with this tool, the advertisers, but whoever just got Analytics 360 is able to understand what happens on their sites. Data Studio, that is a dashboarding tool. A lot of advertisers are relying on this to just have an easy view to see their data. Optimize 360, that is a tool that allows you to do A/B test on your site UX and UI, and Studio, that is a tool to manage the creatives and custom creatives. Let's move on into what is the vision of Google Marketing Platform. So it's useful for you to understand all the products and the naming of this one, because you will hear them a lot. On the left side, you see what all the platforms that works on not on the advertiser side. So it's mainly advertising stuff. So as we said, Search Ad 360 and Display and Video 360. The other three you see them as blurred in gray, because the vision is just to implement them, all the modules, bring all the modules into DV360. Mm-hmm. It won't be super quick, I would say. It will be a process, but one day everything will be under DV360. On the other side, you see Analytics 360, Tag Manager, Optimize, Survey 360, and Data Studio. And this is the part on site. As we said, one day everything will rely under DV360. And to date, we still got Campaign Manager that is separate from the DV360, but just recently happened that Audience Center, the Google DMP, has been just completely implemented into DV360 with a specific module into this platform. So the product Audience Center is not anymore in the market. Even DoubleClick Studio and Campaign Manager one day will be under DV360. So just consider that DV360 will be more important and super present into your daily conversation with buyers. Just to give you a glance of what's the difference between Campaign Manager and DV360. Campaign Manager is the ad server, while DV360 is an evoluted DSP. We said evoluted because is not similar to the other DSPs because we got, as we said before, the audience module that is a pure DMP just inside the DSP. And here you got the main difference from a platform to the other. So they're considering that Campaign Manager is the ad server. Here you can find all the actions, all the process that you can do in the ad server. So you can create campaigns on multiple sites. In this case, we call sites the medias. For example, a site can be a publisher or a specific player. You can create placement, you can create and HUD the creatives, because the ad server is the place where the creatives are hosted. So all the HTML file, JavaScript, and what else. Here you can create and associate to a specific placement the landing page URL from the ad server. When you still manage reservation buying, you can generate and download the tags to send to the publisher. In the ad server, most of the advertisers do the duplication of the conversion. They define the path to conversion and also the attribution modeling. And always consider that to date, the ad servers are managed by the ad ops and trafficking team into the agencies. On the other hand, what we have into DV360 as a DSP is the place where the advertiser just buy inventory into the exchange. Also in DV360, you can create campaign considering specific business goal, but in this way, the campaign is just the structure of your buying. We got here the new words like insertion order and line items. So just keep in mind these two words. We will see them in the next slides. And here you have to consider that the insertion order in DV360 is just the place where you put the date of the campaign flights and the budget. So it's very important to understand that the insertion order represents our campaign at the buyer hand, while each line item represents a strategy, a specific buying strategy. And of course, as a DSP, all the traders, all the campaign managers, we will work in this platform to optimize the buying and monitor the performance, considering a specific KPI. And this kind of platform, the DSPs, are usually managed by the trading desks team into the agency. Let's do a quick summary of the buying method types that are available in DV360. Here you got the environment, a glance and overview of the environment, where you see that we just placed every small pieces of Google into the environment. So you got Campaign Manager, DV360, the part of the Google Partner Inventory, a bit of GDN that is other part of Google Inventory managed by Google Ads, and the part on the publisher side, Google Ad Manager. As you see from the left to the right, we got the full workflow. So the marketer will buy inventory and they will move into this fragmented ecosystem to get their inventory at publisher side. In this slide, you got all the buying method types available in the market. And if we exclude the last one on the right side, we got all the buying methods only in DV360. Let's just focus on the one that are the exchange. So we will skip for today the tag guaranteed one. We won't talk about this today, but it's very similar to the reservation one. So,
and also, as you can see, the naming is the same for the buyers than for us publishers. So when you talk to the agencies, the names are the same and the transaction type of the deals are the same. So that's great to have a clear conversation with the trending desks and the agencies.
So moving from the first one, let's start from the first one, open auction. We are in an open market environment. And just remember a few things of this buying method. We got, in this situation, we got multiple advertisers and multiple publishers, and they are aware of it. I mean, the advertisers here, they are aware that they are in a very high competition scenario, and they know that if they put a specific bid, they can face high CPM considering a specific competition. On the publisher hand, this could be the environment where the unsold inventory stays, and could be an option for them to monetize also the remnant part of the inventory. We just want to show you how in DV360 the public inventory, the open market, and this kind of buying, the open auction can be set. So here at a specific level in a line item, the buyers need to select public inventory instead of private deals. And here on the right side, you got the list of all exchange available in DV360. Most of them are, I would say 90% of them are available in DV360. So if you got one of these on the publisher side, you've been able to monetize your inventory considering the buying from DV360. Moving on the second one, this one is not so often activated, but a lot of few advertisers still use it. And just 2 or 3 considerations about this buying method. The advertiser are aware of not being just the only one in this deal to be able to get this inventory, because the relation here is just one publisher and multiple advertiser. Here, the plus for an advertiser point of view is just that the publisher used to sell this kind of inventory with a lower CPM compared to a preferred deal. It's just that the publisher in considering this relationship, the advertiser are aware of this, and everything, instead of a fixed price that we got in the preferred deal, we got a floor price based. So everything here is managed by the bid. As higher bid I put, as much inventory I'll be able to buy. We just want to show you also here, we just had to cover the list of the deals, but from the advertiser point of view, instead of focusing on public inventories, they need to set private deal in the line item level. And here you got the list of all the deals, private auction and preferred deal, and the exchange where they have been opened. So consider that the advertiser got a kind of full list of all the deals already open at their hand. Moving on the second last one, the preferred deal. Here the relationship is just 1-to-1, so one advertiser and one publisher. The CPM is now fixed, so it's not a floor price, and in this way the advertiser knows that we'll buy the specific CPM defined with the publisher. It's a one-to-one relationship, but in this case the advertiser won't be, or at least doesn't want to commit a specific volumes of impression to the publisher. And sometimes happens that with this kind of buying at the publisher hand, you see after a few days just a drop of buying from the advertiser. And then we see in the next slide the cause, why the advertisers could stop the delivery.
Yeah, we will explain you further the different reasons and like how that affect the buying. Just a quick thing, I am seeing the comments on the video. So you guys are asking for a demo of DV360. We weren't able to show you an account, even if it was a test account. But what we did is in the future slides where we will explain how the advertisers set up the campaigns, we will show you a screenshot of each section. So we kind of, it's a demo, but not really a demo. It's with the screenshots, but you will be able to see the account per se. So maybe we can just, quickly finish
let's move faster.
Forward. Yeah.
Here, the same, you got the view of the advertiser. Let's move on. The last one, the programmatic guaranteed. In this way, is similar to the preferred deal, but here a specific volume of impression is guaranteed. So the advertiser just commits themselves to the publisher to buy a specific volume of impression. Here, it's just similar to your view. They are able just to proceed from their side or wait for the proposal from the publisher's side to set up the guaranteed deal. Let's move on here in what you are asking. I'll try to be as much clear as possible to let you understand how the DV360 is, the structure, and each part of it, and where the buyers just apply the targeting at their hand.
And as you can see, as you will see in the screenshots, Lorenzo and his team made like an effort to show us the account inside. We had to cover pieces of the campaigns, or even if it's a test account, we cannot show it live and as it is. So that's why we went through the workaround, show you the screenshots, so you can have the flavor of what DV360 Insight is. And he will be going through the different pieces and how the campaigns are set up.
So just to simplify, here we got the levels of the account, starting from the higher one is the partner level. So each DV360 partner, or please consider the DV360 partner as an agency or a specific trading desk, which under the partner we got the advertisers. So each advertiser is a kind of brand, and below each advertiser you got 3 levels, where the campaign one is just the latest one that have been created in DV360, and it allows you to group all the different insertion order. For example, we could have as a campaign a video strategy called video strategy, and under this campaign we can have different flight of different video strategy for the same advertiser. So as we said before, insertion order is the place where advertisers and buyers just put the budget and the flights of the dates of the flight. Under the insertion order, we got the line items. So each line item represents a strategy. Let's move on with a screenshot. I'll try to be as much clear as possible. So it's not a demo, but we will try to
have the same effect.
Have the same effect.
If it will be a demo.
As we said, this is the partner. So here you see that we are into the partner. And then below the partner, we had to cover them, but it's just a list. Each green circle represents a line, and we got all the advertiser just below the partner. On the left side, you can see some tabs. These tabs represent the modules, specific modules that you can have at a partner level. So in this section, for you, is important to understand that some agencies or partners can apply default targeting at this level. In this way, if you apply a default targeting here, it falls to all the levels below. So, for example, if they just select specific inventory source or geo or specific environment, and when we say environment, we means web, mobile app. So this is the environment from a DV360 perspective. And this kind of targeting falls into the levels below and can condition the media buying on your hand. All the other information that you can find at partner level are just here, but most of them are related to billing stuff and platform fee and even accounts linked, because as we mentioned before, we are under GMP, so under Google Marketing Platform. At the partner level, it's also important for you to understand that each partner at the partner level, the agencies can define and proceed with deal mapping and the deal management. So happens sometimes that the campaign managers on the buying side does not have access to the partner level, and so they are not able to set or see your proposal. So in this way, just as a key, as a learning, just remember to ask if they are not able to see your deal, at least if they got access to partner level.
Yeah, they are asking, like Simon, for example, is asking where I can find the deal ID in Ad Manager. I will explain you later, Simon. But also he's asking where they can enter this in DV360. So basically to search the campaigns. Is in this view or is later on?
Is later in later on we will see the inventory module that you see here on your left side, and we will see where the deal is viewable at the publisher side. And at the buyer side, sorry.
Thanks.
Let's move on. Under the partner, we got the advertiser. So we are here, second level, we got the advertiser. And below the advertiser, we got here, we just put campaign, just one campaign, but consider that can be more than one campaigns, just in the same page here. At the advertiser level, just remember, is just for you to know that advertiser got access to the audience module. So in this place at the advertiser level, they can build up combined audience, create a new cluster of audiences, have first-party data audiences, and also push their DMP audiences into the DSP. And in this section, they build up the audiences that then can be applied to their buying strategies. At the same time, here at the advertiser level, they have creatives. So here they can see all the creatives that they can get from the ad server, or they can upload directly here some creatives. At the same time, remember this, it's just very important for you. The advertiser can create channels and keyword lists on their hand just to guarantee, for example, brand safety. So if something happens in the world around us, like a tragedy or an accident, they used to create keyword list with a specific keyword related to this accident, and applying this as a targeting, as a negative targeting, can also condition the buying.
As a blacklist.
As a kind of blacklist, yeah.
Okay.
And what else? They got at the advertiser level, the floodlight. A floodlight for us is just a pixel, and is fundamental for them just to have pixel at the advertiser level, because the pixel we represent, if applied to the specific strategy, the conversion point. So thanks to the pixel, thanks to this floodlight, the advertiser are able to see the conversion, and so they are able to run performance campaign into DV360. Furthermore, they can set a specific brand safety for the advertiser, and this asset can condition the media buying as the viewability can. So they can put a lot of filters here at the advertiser level. Moving on into the campaign section. As we said, campaign is just one of the latest level insert into DV360. This one does not affect too much the buying. It's just grouping view for all the insertion order that you got under the advertiser. So as we said before, could be just a grouping way to put all the video strategy, all the video campaigns into the same level, into the same campaign. So the only things here that can be applied is just a kind of frequency cap, but it helps just to manage the buying, but is not a strict frequency capping. Let's move on into the last two parts of the account, and I would say that these two are the most important one. And starting from the insertion order here, what we said before. Insertion order represents the campaign where the buyers just put the specific budget for the whole campaign. So the one that they got into the media plan. So it's not the budget that they communicate to a specific publisher, because in a media plan, you can have more than one publisher, of course. And what you see here we are under the partner advertiser campaign. So we are at the insertion order level. You see the line items. Here you can have different kind of line items. For example, we just put as an example a private auction one, preferred deal one, or an open auction one, and consider that as insertion order. In the insertion order, the buyers can put, of course, the budget, the flight dates, and the frequency cap across line items. So if the buyers just apply an insertion order frequency cap, this will limit a lot the buying on the line items below. But in this way, it's just the only way for the buyers to guarantee a specific exposure for their users. So we just come back to the topic that we said at the beginning of this session. So just consider that at insertion order, they can put the frequency cap, and also another factor that can condition the buying is just the pacing. With the pacing, it's just the rhythm, the pace of the media span day by day. We got the possibility to put three kinds of pacing that is similar, I think, on the publisher hand. The namings are the same, yeah. Just even, ahead, or ASAP. And this can be applied daily or for the full flight. So consider that at the insertion order, the main roadblocks for the buy rate are this one. Switching into the last part of the DV360 account is the line item. So it means that we are into our strategy, and into the line item, the buyers used to apply all the targeting available into the platform. So what kind of targeting they can apply at their hand? The first one is, of course, inventory source. They can define if they want to buy on that specific line item in a public inventory or private inventory, selecting a specific private auction or preferred deal. They can apply also here a brand safety. Of course, if they apply the brand safety at insertion order or advertiser level, they won't apply the brand safety here. They can put manually or in bulk specific apps or URL if they want to deliver on specific URL. Of course, if we are talking about a preferred deal, buyers already knows where they will deliver, consider the information that the publisher gave to them. But for example, in an open market environment, they will rely a lot on this kind of targeting. So specific URL in whitelist, or they can put it, of course, in blacklist. They can also select specific category. And with category, we consider them as group of website categorized under a specific label, for example, sport, fashion, or news. So this categorization has been made by Google. Consider the screening of the URLs and the content of the page. They can the buyers in this level can also apply an environment targeting. So as we said before, it's just mobile web, desktop web, mobile app, and so on. They can set a viewability score. So here they can define just the percentage of impression that must be viewable. Mm-hmm. So viewability here is measured by active view. So that it's in line with MCC and EAB standards. So for the display, it's just 1 second for at least the 50% of the banners, while it's 2 seconds for at least 50% of the percentage of the video. And what they can also apply as a targeting, the language. For example, they can select only specific language of the device. Another level of targeting is the audience list. They can select Google audiences, first-party audiences, or third-party audiences available in DV360. And moving on, other factors that can condition the buying, but at the same time can qualifying the buying on the advertiser side, is just the geography targeting. So of course, if I'm running a campaign in Italy, I need to apply the specific geography targeting. If I'm running, or if my KPI or my scope is just to run a campaign in a specific part of the day, I can apply a day and time targeting. I can also rely on demographic data, select a specific browser. So if I want to, considering all the changes that are happening in the ecosystem, I just want to remove or not to target the Safari browser because ITP2 and some factors of the environment, I want to exclude this kind of browser, I can do it. Another level of targeting is just the device targeting. Of course, we can also go further and select the connection speed, so 3G, 4G, and also we can just select Wi-Fi. Or we can also define the targeting based on the internet service provider and carrier. So these are the targeting factors, while the last part of the information that the buyer used to set at the line item level are the flight dates that can be inherited from the insertion order. So they can override them or keep the same. Also here, for example, if I got a budget on the insertion order that represent the budget for the full campaign, but on a specific line item, I just want to spend a specific amount of money, I can set also here a specific budget. The same thing, I can just apply specific pacing for this line item. And here at the line item level, buyers will apply the bid strategy. We got different bid strategy. The classic one is the fixed bid, but we are implementing a lot of automatic strategy into the DV360. So you will see an increase of the adoption of automated bidding strategy. And the last one, but I would say one of the most important, they can also apply a specific frequency cap at line item level. So here we had an overview of the DV360 structure. One of the last point of the session is just to understand what kind of tools the traders used to rely on if they face problem or issues with delivery. Let's start from the one that we mentioned when we were watching the partner level. So coming back to the question that we received, let's talk about deals in DV360 and what's the view from the buyer's perspective about the inventory module. So at the partner level, we got 3 areas under the inventory module. These one are marketplace, negotiation, and my inventory. In the marketplace, here you got an overview of what is available for your partner. So for example, here you got the full list of publishers available for your partner with an estimation of impression available in a specific date range, unique cookie, and the percentage of this one in display and video environment. They got also a tool at this level. The buyers can also just have a kind of forecast and see who's available, considering some information that they can put here in this reach tool, so that they can define age range, as they can also define a gender or a specific geo. And so inserting these parameters, they've been able to see which kind of publisher is available to match their request. So the marketplace tool is a kind of forecasting tool and a planning tool for the traders, just to see who is available, considering the kind of audience that the buyers just want to get. Moving on, we got the negotiation. So here is the part of the platform where the buyers receive your proposal. For example, if a proposal has been made from the publisher hand to a specific partner, the buyers will see your proposal here, and they just need to proceed with a configuration. So once you send the proposal, they will see everything in this view. They will accept the proposal, and then the deal will be available in this section, the last one, called My Inventory.
We have a question regarding the marketplace before maybe we move on. Sorry, Lorenzo. They're asking regarding the marketplace, how do they get the infos of reach, gender, age? Sorry for interrupting.
In the marketplace, we got the information mainly from 2 exchanges like Google Ad Manager and Rubicon. There will be integrated soon also the others exchange. But consider that they rely on this kind of tool, but it's just mainly a proxy. So they will use it just for suggestions, and it's just not the only one that they use just to plan the buying. So it's just a kind of tool that helps them to just have some suggestions for the planning and the targeting.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but before we move, thanks.
So we are in the last part of the inventory module. So here you got all the deals that have been defined and approved, and once the deals are here, then the buyers are able to have them available at the line item level, where in concrete is the place where you connect the demand and the supply. Moving on from the inventory tool to another one of the most famous, I would say, from the buyer's point of view, is just the deal troubleshooter. As you see here, we got 3 areas of troubleshooting. The first one is just related to the match of the offer and demand. The second one is just related to information that are from buyers, and the last one are information just related to the auction. So let's focus on to the first area of the deal troubleshooter. What they can see on the publisher hand, you can see here that we got 2 clickable links. The one is line item not eligible, and if the buyers click on this phrase, they will get the overview of the factors why that line item is not eligible. So the first part of filtered impression can be seen here, and in this section you can see for all the factors, all the targeting condition applied on the buyer's end that are not matching with the request sent from the publisher. So just consider this and take note of them, like geography, demographics info, channels info, environments, dimension, brand safety, and device. And feel free to ask to the buyers if they are able to give you these details, even with a screenshot, or just to share them, because these, if you share this kind of information, you've been able to send the request considering what they really need. Another factor of the not eligibility of the impression is just the creatives factor. And for example, the creative dimension of the request sent from the publisher do not match with the creative dimension put into the line item, or other factors are like, for example, for a video creative, the publisher does not accept the VPaid protocol. That can happen, or in terms of timing of the creative, the video player on the publisher side cannot accept creatives longer than 20 seconds, for example, or the skippability asset, for example, need to be inserted at publisher, at buyer's end in order to run on a specific publisher site. And also other information like user cookie policy approval need to be flagged, and also ads.txt file need to be present on the publisher side. Moving on into the second section of the deal troubleshooter, and remember that this one is strictly related to the information that the buyers and the targeting that the buyers apply on their campaigns. So frequency, budget, and pacing are 3 assets, very important. And these 3 assets are super important on the buyer side, and very important for you because these kind of assets will limit a lot also the buying at your hand. But they are very important for a buyer point of view. So as we said before, for example, The buy rate can be limited because the buyers apply a frequency cap at IO level that falls on all the line items where you are, because most of the times each publisher is associated to a specific line item. At the same time, at IO level, the buyers just put the overall campaign budget. And also here, budget and pacing are very linked together. So considering the budget, the buyers just expect a specific pacing of the campaign. And sometimes if the pacing is overtaken, of course, they won't bid on the request sent from your hand. So just be aware of this. And the last part of the deal troubleshooter is just strictly related to the auction part. So most of the times it's just because the buyers don't buy just because the bid that they set is just below the minimum bid, or other times can happen that they got auction lost internal just because, for example, a private auction has been open for more than one advertiser into the same partner, so they just overbid themselves internally. Or, for example, auction lost external is where the competition is very high and their bid is too low to get the full volumes of impression. The last one that it's kind of similar to the reach tool that we saw at the inventory level. But as you see from the naming, this report is called Inventory Availability Report. So the acronym is just ER, and is a tool that helps buyers and traders to understand the volumes available for a specific inventory source or a specific part of the inventory, considering the different targeting filter that they can apply. Here you got 3 areas that can be filled. The filters, of course, here for example, they can put inventory source, and in this case will represent a specific deal opened with the publisher. And then as a dimension, they can have a breakdown of all the information that they can also apply as a targeting into the line item level. So they will be able to have, in this case, a breakdown of open URL available in a specific inventory source, and have also the split of creative sites available considering the filters above. What kind of output for each dimension that they put? The output is just based on potential impression and unique cookie with impression, and also potential viewable impression, considering a specific date range that they've applied. Consider that this kind of report is used by the traders, but is not the only one that they rely on. So don't be worried, and this helps them just to have a proxy, but most of the times after if they run a kind of inventory availability report, they can then ask to you if the volumes of the report are really are the one that you got for real. So also I would suggest you to push them to run a report on your specific inventory source, just to compare the volumes from that you got at your hand with the one that they see on the buyer's end.
Can I ask you something, Lorenzo? So a question that we receive constantly from publishers since we moved preferred deals to Google Ad Manager is that we have this new section that says estimated impressions, that basically when you open the deal, publishers are like like they have to set up a specific number of impressions. It's an estimation, so it doesn't really affect the delivery, but it helps the forecasting, right? And most of the time, when we present this to our publishers, the question, like they come back to us, is that they are not the ones actually defining the impressions that at the end the buyers will buy on the deal, right? So this type of inventory availability report could be something that you buyers use to give us that information during the campaign.
Can be totally shareable, of
Okay.
course. So again, I would push you to us, to the buyers, just to run a report and compare the volumes that they see on a specific inventory source
with the specific filters,
with
and
all the filters that have been applied to the campaign, in order to see if the volumes of impression and unique cookies are comparable.
To be able, another follow-up question, to be able to run this inventory availability report, you said pre, during, and post. The pre means that you buyer are able to see the inventory available from a specific publisher before the deal is closed, or the deal has to be already running and you set a specific date in the future?
Thanks for the question. In this case, when we say pre-campaign tool, it's necessary that the deal is already defined. So
the deal is running?
Yes.
And after, you guys can be like, okay, in a week in advance or whatever days in advance, I can see what it will be the estimation of the available inventory.
Exactly.
Okay, so the deal has to be closed. If not, you guys don't have that information.
Exactly.
Okay.
For example, let's say if we got an always on deal, even if it's not so...
It's not available anymore per se in Ad Manager, but we have to put the specific dates now.
Okay.
But even like if a campaign is running, for example, for a month,
yes,
like you will be able, like if this is the first week of the campaign, you will be able to run this report to see in 3 weeks in advance.
Exactly.
How much inventory you will have available.
And consider that it's always a proxy.
Yeah, of course.
It's just an estimation tool. So the buyers are aware of this, and we always tell them that it's just an estimation tool. And the right procedure is just then to compare these volumes with the publisher, always.
Of course. So maybe a recommendation I can give you publishers will be to probably ask them for these numbers, right? And communicate constantly with the buyer in this case. And if you are afraid that maybe after they apply specific filters, the available impressions they will buy will be less of what you expect, I think it's a great tool to use from the buyer side, and for us to know what will be actually the impressions that you guys will be available to buy, and after hopefully will buy in the future, right?
Exactly.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So just a recap of what we said today, and I hope that what we saw will be helpful for you in the future, and just for you to take notes of all the filters, condition, all the targeting details that the buyer can apply at his end. So we just group them into 4 main groups, like the content, so inventory source, brand safety, keyword list, open URL, category, environment, viewability, and language. So take notes of this. Moving on the audience group, we can define our audience. The buyers can filter their buying considering a specific audience based on audience list that they got into the platform, or geography-based users, day and time, and demographics, considering the technology that the users used to rely on, so specific browser, device, connection speed, carrier, and internet service provider. And one of the most important, we just want to let you be totally aware of this, just the flight dates, budget, pacing, and frequency cap, and also the bid strategy. So this is a checklist that I will just suggest you just to keep in mind, and that you can bring on the table when you got a call, or when you just need to compare the results of a specific deal, or any kind of troubleshooting that you do with a publisher on a specific deal. If you consider all these targeting factors, you can also go deeper in the troubleshooting. And just a few points just to as a key takeaways of this session: be always clear in and be always open to understand the expectation of the buyers, campaigns, KPIs, and goal. So be as possible as you can strict to the KPIs and goals, and be clear and try to bring immediately on the table the point of the targeting. So be clear and ask to the buyer what kind of targeting they will apply, considering the KPI and goals of the campaign. So if they apply a specific targeting, you've been able to send only that kind of request that they want. And try to define a recurrence. Try to get in touch with the buyer as often as you can to understand the status and the hygiene of the deal. So try to understand if the buy rate can be always the same, or if you will face issues due to budget cut, due to impossibility for the buyers to reach the specific KPI with you, but just try to communicate as often as you can.
A good practice will be also, for example, to set up a follow-up meeting after the campaign is running, so you guys, the buyers, can check the availability report, and after you can also know what will be the remaining impressions. So it will also be beneficial for publishers in this case to try to use that inventory for their campaigns.
And the fourth point related to the second one, direct and clear. So be clear in communication and understand clients and buyers' need in order to avoid to send impressions that are not important for them. The fifth point, one of the main important one, and remember that buyers used to apply frequency cap also at insertion order level, which represent for us as buyers the campaign, while for you or you are considered as a specific line item. So consider that if the buyers apply the frequency cap as at IO level, this kind of frequency cap will affect all the line items below. So consider this and remember this. And the last point, I would say, always related to the communication, just be as much transparent as you can. So just try to pass all the user ID and cookie information in order to let the buyer buy the inventory, considering the targeting, the kind of targeting, all layers of targeting that we got in DV360.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lorenzo, for everything. We had 5 minutes, more or less, for questions. So I have been looking at the questions in the chat. I think more or less we answered the ones that you didn't answer between yourselves. Good conversation happening here. We also have questions from a survey we sent beforehand. So one of the questions is, there is anything else besides targeting criteria that we should consider when trafficking deals? Any other issues or roadblocks to consider?
As we said, for example, also we should consider the creative issues.
Okay.
So not only related to targeting, but also on creatives. Most of the times happens on video creatives due to prepaid or VAS protocol, or for example, features on video creatives like skippability or not. the length of the video could be a block. And also, as we said, users' cookie privacy acceptance or AdSense files.
Okay.
So these are the main factors that are limit the buying.
Okay, cool. There is another question. Considering the ecosystem changes, there is any further advice or good practice?
As we said in the last slide, one of the good practice is just to be clear and try to set since the beginning good way to communicate with the buyer.
Good relationship.
Good relationship, of course.
The buy side and the sales side we have.
And of course, understand clients' needs, understand the KPI of the campaigns will help you to provide that kind of impression that buyers needs, and at the same time have a high buy rate at your hand.
Okay, thank you. So next question. Why do I see buyer is not buying? What that means for the advertisers?
And
we see that in basically when we run the deal,
yes.
And we try to understand why you didn't buy specific impressions. We see some justifications, and one of them is that the buyer is not bidding or is not buying, basically.
There are, as you see in this session, there are a lot of targeting layers that can be applied on our side. And we mentioned more than once the one related to frequency cap and budget. Most of the times I would say that's the reason why the buyer is not bidding. Because, for example, we reached the average level of frequency cap per user that we want to achieve, or at the same time, the buying can be blocked considering the pacing that we have applied to a campaign.
Okay, so if you use the frequency cap at insertion order level, and in that insertion order level, there are different transaction types and different publishers also.
Yes.
If you already reach, imagine you have a frequency cap of 3, and you already reach user cookie-based, because when we say users, we mean cookie-based, on another website, so on another publisher, with another type of deal, or even the same type of deal, you won't buy that user cookie base in my website, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's,
So
that makes sense,
just consider always, just to be aware, just try to ask to the buyer if they will apply or not. Most of the times they do. A frequency cap at IO level. Of course, this will condition the buying and could be a reason why the buyer is not buying.
Yeah, great. Okay. Another question that our publisher sent is, I had problems with identifying deals. When talking to the trading desk, they cannot find the deal I sent them before. What should I use to look for deals? To communicate with you, I guess, like with buyers.
Let's say that the common factor is the common asset is the deal ID.
Okay.
So if you said line item ID, the one at your hand is not the same at my end, but the common factor is the deal ID. So if you rely on that that number, of course the buyer will be able to see it. But as we said before, maybe the buyer does not even got access to the partner level where at our hand we set the deals.
Okay.
So just keep in mind all these details and maybe just ask to them like, are you able to see the partner level? Do you have the right access to set up deals? If don't, try to ask to.
Okay, you mean because, for example, maybe the POC, which is a trafficker of specific campaigns, doesn't have the access to the full partner level of your site. Okay.
Some of the trading desk, just in the trading desks, just few people got the partner access, and only if you got partner access, you are able to set all the deals.
Okay. So that's something that we should consider. Thank you for letting us know. And maybe last question, because it's 11:30 already. I have traveled with creatives and deal setup, and would like to know how to do it best or hear any advice.
This is a kind of generic question, let's say.
Travels with creatives, maybe.
Troubles with creatives, let's say, could be just related to the first question that we answered. So always just be clear in a communication. For example, if you got blocks in your video player at the publisher hand, considering skippability or specific kind of format that you can host at your hand, be clear since the beginning and tell to the buyers what kind of creative you can host on your player.
Okay.
In that way, you'll be able just to avoid any kind of problem related to creatives.
We don't activate it. We don't have that specific format.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's a wrap. We are done. Thank you so much for attending the session. Thank you so much for all the interactions that you sent in the chat. Thank you so much for all the questions that you sent before. We will be sending a feedback form, and it's really important for us to understand if this was useful, if you want to hear more of this type of hangouts where we are both together. It's not only hearing from us, but you would like to hear more also from the DV360 guys. What else you want to know that we didn't cover, or if we cover everything and you love it, also is good to know. So please fill it out. It will only take 2 minutes and we will send it to you. And that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Lorenzo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is not something that don't happen that often. So we are really grateful to Lorenzo. And have a great day ahead, everybody. Bye-bye.
Ciao.